Functions of the reproductive system. You have read about many of the organ systems that enable you to grow and respond to changes in the environment. Organ systems such as the nervous system, the skeletal system, and the circulatory system and the digestive system are all important for an individual's survival. But what organ system ensures that the human species survives? A reproductive system is a group of tissues and organs. It enables the male and female reproductive cells to join and form new offsprings. Like other animals, human males produce sperm, and human females produce the eggs. During reproduction, a sperm joins with an egg. As shown in Figure 1, this usually happens inside the female's reproductive system. Once joined, part of the female's reproductive system nourishes the developing human. In order to understand how human developed, we must first learn the parts of the male and female reproductive systems. The male reproductive system. The main function of the male reproductive system to produce and transport sperm to the female reproductive system. As shown in Figure 2, there are many parts of the female reproductive system, each with a unique function. The testis is the male reproductive organ that produces sperm. A male's two testes are inside an external sac-like structure called the scrotum. Sperm development can occur only at a temperature that is lower than normal body temperature. Because the scrotum is outside the male's body, it is at the temperature slightly lower than the normal body temperature. Once the sperm develops, they move to a tube called the sperm duct and are stored. During storage, sperm mature and develop and the ability to swim. As mature sperm move through the remainder of the male reproductive system, they mix with fluids produced by several glands. The mixture of sperm and fluids is called semen. Semen also contains nutrients that provide sperm with energy. Semen leaves the body through the penis. The penis is a tube-like structure that delivers sperm to the female reproductive system. The path of the sperm is shown in Figure 3. Sperm. Now that you have learned about the parts of the male reproductive system, now let's take a closer look at sperm. When mature, sperm can join as eggs. As illustrated in Figure 3, a mature sperm cell has two main parts, a head, a midpiece, and a tail. The head contains DNA and substances that help the sperm join with an egg. The midpiece contains organelles called mitochondria. Recall that mitochondria are the cell organelles that produce food molecules and release energy. This energy enables movement of a sperm's tail. The tail is a long, slender structure that whips back and forth and moves the sperm. Although semen contains millions of sperms, only one sperm joins with an egg. Female reproductive system. As shown in Figure 4, the female reproductive system has many structures, each with a unique function. Recall from Figure 2 that male reproductive systems have both internal and external parts. In contrast, all the parts of the female reproductive systems are inside the body. Recall that both the male and female reproductive systems produce reproductive cells. Males produce sperm, and females produce immature eggs called oocytes. An ovary is an organ where oocytes are stored and mature. A mature oocyte is called an egg, ovum. Just as male has two testes, female has two ovaries. About 1 a month, an ovary releases an egg. After an egg is released, it enters the fallopian tube. Short hair-like structures called cilia move the egg through the fallopian tube towards the uterus. If the egg is fertilized by a sperm, the uterus provides a nourishing environment for a fertilized egg's development. You will read more about how humans developed in Lesson 2. The part of the reproductive system that connects the uterus to the outside of the body is the vagina. Sperm enter the female reproductive system through the vagina. The vagina, also called the birth canal, because the baby moves through this structure during its birth. The egg, unlike sperm, which are long, slender, and when mature, eggs are large and round when mature. In fact, an egg is about 2,000 times larger than a sperm. Like sperm, eggs contain DNA. However, unlike sperm, an egg is filled with substance that provide it with nourishment. Another important difference between males and females is that the male releases millions of sperm and semen, but a female usually releases only one egg at a time. As shown in Figure 5, each oocyte is an ovary is surrounded by follicle cells. The follicle cells release hormones that help oocytes develop into eggs. The changes that occur as oocytes develop and release of an egg are also shown in Figure 5. Menstrual cycle. A female usually releases one egg at a time. Because the function of the reproductive system is to produce a new human, an egg is released only when the uterus is prepared to nourish it. The ovaries and the uterus go through reproductive-related changes called the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is caused by chemical signs called hormones. One menstrual cycle is about 28 days long and can be divided into 3 phases. It is called a cycle because the phases repeat in the same order and in about the same amount of time. The menstrual cycles begin with the process called menstruation. During menstruation, tissue, fluid, and blood cells pass from the uterus through the vagina and are removed from the body. Menstruation usually lasts about 5 days. Phase 2. In the next phase of the menstrual cycle, the tissue lining the uterus thickens as shown in Figure 6. In the ovary, several oocytes begin maturing at the same time. After about a week, usually only one egg survives. Near the end of this phase, hormones usually cause an egg to be released from the ovary in a process called ovulation. Phase 3. During Phase 3, the tissue that lines the uterus continues to thicken. If sperm are present, the egg might join with a sperm in a process called fertilization. The tissue lining the uterus is called the endometrium. The endometrium provides the fertilized egg with nutrients and oxygen during its early development. If fertilization does not occur, the endometrium breaks down and the menstrual cycle repeats itself. Menopause. When females get older, the reproductive system stops releasing eggs. When this happens, a woman reaches menopause, a time when the menstrual cycle stops. The menopause occurs because a woman's ovaries produce fewer hormones. There are not enough hormones to cause oocyte maturation and ovulation. Menopause occurs because a woman's ovaries produce fewer hormones. There are not enough hormones to cause oocyte maturation and ovulation. Menopause usually happens between the ages of 45 and 55. The reproductive system and homeostasis. Although the reproductive system does not help the body maintain homeostasis, reproduction is essential to ensure the survival of human species. The reproductive system of both males and females are controlled by endocrine system. Recall the hormones produced by the endocrine system cause the menstrual cycle. These hormones act by positive and negative feedback mechanisms and control when oocytes mature. Hormones also control sperm maturation and in the male reproductive system. The reproductive system and the endocrine system work together and control when eggs and sperm mature.